You were taught to be nice, to play fair, to believe that if you just work hard, stay honest, and treat people well, success will come to you naturally. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. The world doesn't reward goodness, it rewards power. And for over 500 years, one man saw human nature and power dynamics more clearly than almost anyone before or since: Niccolò Machiavelli. He wasn't evil, he wasn't a sadist, he wasn't teaching people to be cruel for the sake of cruelty. He was a realist, a strategist, a student of history, politics, and human behavior. And in his most famous work, The Prince, he laid out principles, not for tyrants, but for anyone who must lead, survive, or simply protect themselves in a world that rarely plays fair. In the next 30 minutes, you'll learn the 3 most powerful and practical rules from The Prince, rules that actually work in modern life, not to turn you into a manipulator, but to make sure you're never manipulated again. This is the story of Walter Briggs. Walter is 78 years old. He's a retired high school history teacher from a quiet town in Vermont. He lives alone in a weathered white house with a sagging front porch, a golden retriever named Caesar, and a study filled with old books, most of them untouched for decades. His grandson, Eli, is 24. He works 60 hours a week in a digital marketing agency in Boston. He's smart, loyal, and always the first to volunteer. But lately, he's noticed something. Every time he has a breakthrough idea, his boss presents it in the next team meeting as if it were his own. One rainy Sunday afternoon, Eli drives up to visit Walter. He's frustrated, exhausted, defeated. He slumps into a wicker chair on the porch and says, "I'm done. I'm tired of being the nice guy who gets walked on. I play by the rules and all I get is invisible." Walter doesn't offer empty comfort. He doesn't say, "Just be patient." Instead, he walks inside, returns with a faded leather-bound book, its spine cracked, its pages yellowed, and places it gently on the porch railing. It's a 1952 English translation of The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli. Walter takes a slow sip of black coffee, looks his grandson in the eye, and says, "Then it's time you learned how the game is really played." The first rule you need to understand comes from chapter 17 of The Prince. Here, Machiavelli asks a simple question: is it better to be loved or feared? His answer? It is far safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Now, before you recoil, that's not a call for cruelty. It's a warning against dependency. Love is fragile. It depends on moods, circumstances, and other people's whims. Fear, when used wisely, is reliable. It comes from consistent boundaries, clear consequences, and unshakable resolve. But Machiavelli adds a critical warning. A prince must avoid being hated. Why? Because fear keeps people in line. Hatred inspires rebellion. So how do you be feared without being hated? Never take people's money, never insult their honor, never betray them without a reason so clear even they might understand it. Walter tells Eli, "In your office, don't yell, don't spread rumors, just stop smiling when your boss steals your work. Next time, say calmly, 'I'll need that idea documented in writing before we move forward.'" Cold, professional, unmovable. Eli tries it the following week. His boss, confused by the sudden shift, hesitates and backs off. Why? Because the dynamic changed. Eli was no longer passive. He became someone whose boundaries had teeth. Remember this: fear earns respect. Hatred earns enemies. Stay in the space between. The second rule comes from chapter 18. Machiavelli writes, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when, by doing so, it would be against his interest." That sounds ruthless, But it's not about lying for fun. It's about understanding that in a competitive world, promises are only as strong as the power behind them. His deeper point: people are self-interested, alliances shift, loyalty fades when convenience disappears. So a true strategist must be two things at once: the lion and the fox. The lion uses strength to frighten wolves. The fox uses cunning to avoid traps. You need both. Walter shares a story from his own life. Back in 1986, a real estate developer offered to buy Walter's 5-acre property for a quick profit. He promised cash, fast closing, and a generous price. Walter smiled, shook the man's hand, and said, "I'll think about it." Then, that same evening, he called a reporter in the local newspaper. Casually, he mentioned that the developer planned to bulldoze the town's oldest white oak, a tree planted in 1821, to make room for a concrete parking lot. The story ran the next day. Public outrage exploded. Town meetings were held. The developer's reputation took a hit. The deal collapsed. Walter never lied. He never threatened. He simply used truth as a tool, placed in the right hands at the right time. That's the fox. Your move today, in your career, your relationships, even your social circles, don't reveal your full strategy. Observe first, adapt constantly, act decisively when the moment is right, and always, always maintain the appearance of fairness even when you're playing to win. Because as Machiavelli wrote, men judge by eyes, not by hands. Perception is reality. The third and final rule comes from chapter 25, where Machiavelli tackles the idea of luck, or fortuna. Most people say success is about being in the right place at the right time. Machiavelli disagreed. He wrote, "Fortune is a woman. She favors the young, the bold, and the audacious." In other words, luck isn't random, it's seized. Fortune flows toward those who prepare, then act without hesitation. Walter leans forward and says to Eli, "You think I got this house, this life, by waiting for blessings? No. I asked for a raise the same week my principal was struggling to keep teachers. I proposed to your grandmother the month her wealthy suitor lost his job. I planted this oak tree in 78, the year everyone said the town was dying." He didn't wait for permission, he created opportunity. Machiavelli's lesson is this: when the river floods, don't stand on the bank praying. Build a dam, redirect the current, use the chaos to your advantage. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Take one bold action this week. Send the email you've been drafting for months. Walk away from the friendship that drains you. Ask for the title, the raise, the credit you've earned. Because fortune doesn't crown the patient, she rewards the prepared and the courageous. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds cold, unfeeling, almost immoral. But understand this: Machiavelli wasn't writing a manual for villains. He was writing a survival guide for the clear-eyed. His goal wasn't chaos, it was stability, not cruelty, but control over one's own destiny. The world is not a morality play, it's a contest of wills, resources, and influence. And the people who win aren't always the kindest. They're the ones who understand the rules, seen and unseen, and play accordingly. As Walter tells Eli on that rainy porch, being good doesn't mean being weak. It means knowing when to show mercy and when to be steel. Use these principles not to hurt others, but to ensure you are never again used, ignored, or discarded by those who mistake kindness for weakness. So ask yourself now, will you keep playing by rules that don't exist in the real world, or will you finally learn how the game is actually played? If this changed the way you see power, leadership, or your own potential, do me a favor, like this video. Subscribe to this channel because next week we break down Sun Tzu's secret for winning without ever fighting. And remember the words Machiavelli centuries ago, words that still echo in boardrooms, courtrooms, and quiet conversations like this one. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. That's all for now. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and never forget, knowledge is only power when you use it.